We're soon to have our panel, and I'll be presenting them to you in a moment, but I needed to tell you very briefly about this three guys. They're all mates. One of them was a doctor, the other one's a lawyer, another one was a master electrician, oddly enough. And they're out playing a game of golf, and they've been playing golf forever. And they had four people in front of them, and they were playing like Mickey Mouse. They were hitting the ball 10, 15 times, and they just couldn't advance the game because they're forever waiting for these four clowns in front of them to move on. And it was getting worse. And all the three guys, the doctor, the lawyer, the master electrician, they were getting really ticked off. They saw the green kid coming across, they hailed him down and said, "Hey, can you get these idiots off the golf course? They're holding it up, we can't play through, they're taking half an hour on every bloody hole." He said, "Oh no, can't do that. Those four men are firefighters, and the clubhouse caught fire about a year ago, and these four men came in and bravely tried to put the fire out, and all of them were blinded. None of them can see, and that's why they're playing such horrible golf. But we let them play anytime, every time they want, because they sacrifice so much for the golf club." And the guys all felt really bad, and the doctor said, "Look, I feel really bad. I'm going to see my specialist colleagues in the eye doctor part of the world, and I'm going to see what I can do for these guys." And the lawyer, he felt really bad. He said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to see if I can pay for their medical expenses and their legal fees and anything that they need like that." And the master electrician said, "Well, can't they play at night time?" You get it. All right, would you please join me warmly welcome back to the stage Laurie Murphy, Ross McGee, Tony Berland, and of course David Gardner. Would you please welcome our panellists back to the stage? Now the way this works, team, and I need you to make this work, because this session I'm going to ask each of our panellists a different question. They're going to give their view, their opinion, their comment on it. And then when I finish asking the four questions, I'm going to ask you to ask them questions, and you don't have to. And then direct your question to one of the panellists is what we're going to ask you to do. So if you've got pen and paper, because you'll get it right, and say, "Oh, I've got a question." If you don't write it down, you'll miss it. So that's how it's going to work. So first and foremost, gentlemen, thank you for joining us, and congratulations again on fantastic presentations this morning. They were incredibly innovative and very interesting. My first question, if I may, to you, Laurie. What's the biggest thing you see changing the industry, and what is that? What is the opportunity? What's the biggest thing you see changing the industry?
Thanks, Dave. Well, there's going to be significant change, I guess. It's changing every day and rapidly. In my opinion, I think globalisation through the internet, the information that's accessible now, and it's so quick, it's instantaneous, it's global. I'd see that probably being the biggest factor driving so much change through the industry, and there's a lot of opportunity there. You know, you have access to information instantaneously at all times, and then you can make your own judgment calls on what part of the industry you're going to work in, what geographies you're going to work in. You know, for Australians, we've got 2/3 of the world's population 8 hours north of us. And a hell of a lot of those people don't have power. So into the future, you know, the new generations will be doing a lot of work in Asia, and that is all accessible via the net, all that information. So I'd probably see that being most. That's my last question. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Ross, my next question to Ross. Where do you see the balance between health and safety and innovation?
Safety. So it's just nuts, the overrules everything, and that's why we're in business. It's all about safety. And that's why I get upset on what we're seeing, the slowness of standards. The regulators are saying, well, we can't wait, we'll go and do our own things. And that undermines the standard. The standard's pretty basic, but it's, we've all agreed it may take a long time, but it's a basic level of protection. So if standards aren't endorsed by the regulators, or they build their own, then what's the platform we build from? But once you've got that quality and safety, everything else is easy above.
Excellent, thank you very much. My next question is to Tony. Tony, what can the contractors do to help the consumer in terms of quality of product?
I think it's always difficult to give an advice on everything, but I think what we just need to realize how good is our industry. How good we are able today to distribute good product, compliant product, in few minutes, few hours everywhere. And unfortunately, we do not realize enough the value of what we are promoting. And I think that what we expect from the full channel, and obviously from you, because you are the one discussing with the customer, is that to be proud of this industry and to be proud of the product and to be proud of the quality, we don't have to be shy. At the end, the customer is making a choice. Am I going to spend more money here, more money in plumbing, more money in lighting, more money in whatever? And we've got beautiful things to sell. So just promote it with us, and we've got plenty of room to sell the new product and innovative and quality product.
Merci, merci. And the last question, or my last question to you, David. How will electrical contractors be impacted by the Internet of Things?
So I think, first of all, to say impact almost has like a negative connotation. At the end of the day, really, we have to look at embracing the Internet of Things. It's not going to go away. First, we need to accept it and realise it as an opportunity. In terms of tackling that opportunity and succeeding, I think, one of the best assets, the biggest points of differentiation as electrical contractors is that you are, at the end of the day, trusted advisors of the people that you serve. And when we do talk about some of those global players, as Laurie mentioned earlier, that will be on our shores, it is an internet. And not so good at, let's say, interfacing with people in their homes, in their buildings. So again, I would treat this as a huge opportunity to look at your own human resource, so the people that you need to invest in the future, but equally the investment that you make in yourselves from a training and upskilling point of view. The other bit which I mentioned in the presentation is that companies of 6 billion or 10 billion euros, global organisations today cannot keep up with the pace of change. So to take advantage in this very fast-paced world is through partnership. So again, I think it's a human capital opportunity, and there's skills that one contractor may possess or one contracting company, but they can partner with an integrator, or in some cases a solar provider, for example, to complete a whole of home. So to me, I think it's, first of all, accept it as an opportunity, and you have to embrace it and invest in yourselves and invest in your people.
Thank you very much, David. Well done, well said. So team, it's now open to the floor. If you have a question, if you could just wave your hand around, and we'll get the microphone to you. And I'll take, there we go, thank you very much.
My name's Janelle and I'm from Brisbane. I run an electrical contracting business with my husband, but he would tell you that I probably tell him what to do before he tells me what to do, and that's fine by me. But I'm also the branch chairperson of Master Electricians in Brisbane. One of the issues that comes up all the time with regards recall of products is, for want of a better word, the disgusting hourly rate that you as manufacturers expect electrical contracting companies to go back and replace those products at. We're being told all the time that we're an industry that needs to be improved, but we don't see that improvement when we're getting told to go out and replace a breaker for about $35. So I would like to see the manufacturers take a little bit more of a close look at us as contractors who are business people, who want to run our business not only very well and very ethical and by the rules, but we are also there to make a profit, and we're not there to have the carpet pulled out of our electrical contracting business.
Thanks, John. Who would like to answer that?
Fair point. Look, I don't know. I've only got one recall. We're still advertising, and we probably get 50 or 60 products back per week. About every week I've got variances. So we had one Nares Rock recently, it was $1,000 outcall, but the contract we knew wasn't, we get opportunists. It was a 4-hour drive because of the community. They can only go at certain hours. We've had other ones at Brisbane Airport the same. So it's not, there may be an hourly rate, which we do put, but then it's conditional. Like Brisbane Airport, the contractors had to get in there overnight, but pay the penalty, had to have two just for health and safety reasons. So we do have variance. I mean, yeah, I've got opportunists there all the time, but we look at it horses for courses. The first thing is reputation. We know this contractor, they're pretty honest. Yes, it's a 4-hour job. Yes, it's an overnight job. And then we make approval around that. If it's unfair, I'm sorry on that. We're trying to do the best we can, but we can do a fortnightly. I'll do a variance.
What I wanted to say is that I think it's a good question, because that means that you have people in front of you who are going to be able to face this responsibility and to discuss with you about rates. And I think this is a good thing. You can perhaps consider that the rates, I don't know, I don't have any idea, we didn't have any recall, but if it's happened, we will discuss with industry, we will discuss with my superior electrician, we will face our responsibility. And perhaps it's not going to be the good price, but at least we will be here to discuss with you and to face it. I'm not sure it's going to be the case of most of the products that unfortunately we find on the market now, where you will have absolutely no responsibility in front of you. Am I clear, I hope? So yes, let's discuss if it's happened, let's discuss about that. Let's negotiate, because it's going to be negotiation. But at least we will be there. And we will face our responsibility.
Thank you, Janelle. Another question. Yes, we have a question in the front.
My name's Chris Lehman. I run an electrical contracting business in Brisbane, and I was very interested in what you had to say before, I think, Ross, about regulators and how how regulators now and decision makers are making policy on emotion rather than on facts. So how do we get in front of this? And I'm interested to hear what all of you have to say on this matter.
I'm trying to work with AI Group at the moment and Malcolm. We need to get a forum. I mean, we've got to build the trust up, because I've got court affidavits. They just detest manufacturers and electricians. They've used the word idiots, which I just find abhorrent, considering they collect fees for electricians getting licences. So we have to get around the table. There's a lot we can share, and I think together we can have a better safety outcome. But right now, ERAC's not doing that, and they don't want to talk to manufacturers or wholesalers. So, wholesalers are much bigger than I am in this market. I need the wholesaler at the table. That's a lot of influence. I need other manufacturers, but I need the members' associations. And we've got to get that forum done quickly. That's what we've seen in Europe happen the last 2 or 3 years. Yes, they have national standards as opposed to states in Australia. And I know New Zealand's talking about breaking away from Australia. They're discussing too and going to join the British standard. But we've got to save this, and I think the way we've got to do it is call the forum, keep that forum going.
Yeah, I agree with what Ross is saying there. I think the Australian Industry Group is probably for Australia. It's probably the only vehicle we can use. We did have an Electrical Wholesalers Association at one time, but ACCC fixed that up for us. So I don't think you'll ever see wholesalers alone get in a room together ever again. So we really do need the contractors represented, the wholesalers represented, and manufacturers represented in a forum, and AI is probably the only place to do it.
Thank you.
Maybe just to add, it's if you look from a leading manufacturer's point of view, there's a huge expense and investment really at the end of the day that goes into driving standards in our industry. Yes, they may start at an IEC level or a UL level in the US, but this is cascaded through global committees at the end of the day that do impact, let's say, Australia and New Zealand. And one worrying trend actually that I see in the standards piece is a little bit of a widening gap between Australia and New Zealand on some topics where we've taken different positions. And I think for the Pacific to be strong and for an industry to be strong, to Laurie's point, it really does require manufacturers, contractors associations and wholesale industry to be together and be one voice wherever possible. But just a little bit of a concerning trend on some standards where we see a little bit of a widening gap between Australia and New Zealand.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Chris, for your question. Do we have another question? Yes. And the microphone's on its way to you.
Hello, John Horan. I run Horan in Queensland. Now, I like the Internet of Things. I think it's really exciting, and we do a lot of solar and batteries and storage. What I'm seeing is the problem that all you guys have got awesome products and different things, but what's that open API that ties it all together? Is it Google? Is it Apple? You'll soon see LG Chem come up and talk. They've got the best, and there's also Tesla. You just got the best lights, but I think best of practice has always been get the best of the things out there, but one thing runs it. Because if you look at the software industry, what they just did, what QuickBooks did, MYOB did, they got themselves a big hole because they couldn't talk to anything else. And then Xero come in with an open API and took a big chunk of the market.
Yeah.
If the question is about interoperability, because this is the question, in fact, we've got the feeling that it's getting a little bit more complex than that. Sorry, not that the question, but it's getting complex. What's going to happen? In fact, previously we used to think about a home system. The home, for example, was a system, right? A building was a system. What's going to happen today is that this system is going to communicate outside. And then you will have a link, for example, to an application like Apple, Google, or whatever, on some other application. And this is this application that potentially is going to make the link with some other system, right? And everything is going to go back to the installation. So interoperability exists already, not through the pure system, but through the fact that all those systems are already speaking the same language. So, in fact, I don't think that the choice is going to, there will be no choice because it already exists, it's already interoperable, there's already this interoperability. But it's amazingly complex to manage today, for us. But for you, I think it's going to be more simple because tomorrow, those things are going to speak together. So I don't think that there will be a choice. And it's probably one of the major challenges of the next few years for us, because we used to, that's what you said, we used to consider the innovation like just in our field, but innovation alone doesn't work now. We need absolutely to deal with those guys. So I'm very confident that we will achieve what you want without having choosing the specific technology. It's much more open.
I think it's a bit of a solution looking for a problem. The problem in technology, and I came from IBM for 18 years. In '92, I was in a task force on network computing, and we were saying we need a thin tablet computer. You need an application that provides everything to everyone. And it didn't happen for 10 or 15 years. Spent gazillions on trying to do this strategy, but we were sort of ahead of the curve. And I look at it today, it's similar. From a technology viewpoint, you can see a lot. So you've got sensors and actuators, you've got communication protocol, no one can agree on the people in process. But behind things are happening. One area of interest. There's the problem with the Internet Protocol was you couldn't go running up individual addresses. So a whole lot of work happened over about 15 years. So in 2011, Internet Protocol version 6 came out. That has enough capacity to give a unique identifier to every atom on the Earth, and then 10 more Earths. So some things, what to do with it, I don't know, but that's why they talk about big data, there's a lot of data. But some things, the groundwork's been put in there. But what will be the killer app? And what, I don't know what Commons Protocol, is it personal access network, a wide area network, is it VSPI, is it Wi-Fi, is it, no one knows. And if you go to any of the trade exhibits, you've got hundreds of different ideas there, but no one's sort of bringing it all together, there's no integration. So it's frustrating, but from the industry I've come from, I've seen the same frustration, I've also seen the same vision, but often it's a decade ahead of when it really becomes simple. So don't know when it'll come, 5 years, 10 years, but as per that Internet address, if we've got a unique identifier for every atom, plus 10 words, wow, we have an ability to connect. But when, I don't know.
I would say it's a trend that is in the making. it's, I don't know, 10 years, 20 years ago, people developing platforms as innovators. Could be in lighting control, could be in building management systems, and they were closed systems. And in the end, it really is the Ethernet and the internet that changed all of that. Now, whilst some of those companies still exist today, I think the ones that will survive in the future will be open protocol, open technology, and sharing API. But it's a decision a business makes for competitive advantage. I think in the fast-paced world today, it's almost inevitable.
Another question of the panel. Yes, if we may, we'll take the question just at the back there.
My name's Will from Willpower Electrical in Blenheim, New Zealand. One question I do have with, say, Philips Lighting and buildings, houses, the way it's all going, how much of it is actually going to now become low voltage within the building, within the house, where we're actually just doing the connection to that building, metering and switchboard, and how much is the manufacturers and just where the trend is going with you guys is actually going to be taken away from us as electricians, and they're not actually going to require someone with their ticket to actually do those work within inside that building? And is that going to affect us later on to actually our work and what's actually available to do as contractors?
Given you mentioned Philips, I guess I'll have a go. LG is going to talk later. I think in a lot of respects this is a big question around certain battery technology. And it may be that there's a 12-volt wired system in the roof. We don't necessarily have a position, but you know, one of the flagship products that I spoke earlier about, and we just gave away, our next evolution of product, which comes out in January, is a 240-volt wired system. It's an integrated Hue luminaire. So I don't see any short-term trend where that's going to move away. To be honest, in fact, that it's a mainstream product. Yes, it's more retail if you're talking about lamps. I mean, consumers have been buying lamps forever. But once it moves into an integrated luminaire with all the features and integration possibilities, it's still 240 volt, and I think it opens up a wider market.
Did any of our other panelists want to? All good? Well done.
We'll wait for LG.
Thanks for your question, Will. And we did have a question at the front.
It's not really so much a question, but something I think is quite important for manufacturers to realise when they're bringing new products out is there is nothing more frustrating as a contractor in the field than ringing up the support line and hearing the support guy flick through the magazine that I've got in front of me as well and tell me the same thing I've just read. Like, it's really, really important that the people who are supporting your product actually know the product and aren't just reading a script. They've got a feel for it and they know how it's going to be in the field, because that is a real bummer when that happens.
If we had the solution, we would be happy. I think a few things are happening. First, we are facing exactly the same things that you are faced with your workforce. It's quite complex. We have a huge turnover, difficult to find new people, difficult to train them, we train people, they leave, and so on. It's not easy. So the second point is that for sure, we are moving to solution. We used to speak about very simple product, we moved to solution, now we are moving to systems, interoperability, everything. So it's going to become more and more complex, and it's very, very tough to be able to have all the experts locally, because the cost would be amazing about that. So that means, yes, we need to think about the way to give you more information, to give you all the information. Expert without any data. We need the expert to be able to speak with you. But the second point is probably we will have the opportunity to give you much more access to our data, to our specification sheet, to all the information. That's exactly what's giving us the technology. We want you, we are working on that, on content management system, to give you an access to our information in order to also to try to give you more things, relevant things on a short term. But more complex technology, issue to find people, and it's complex. So I hope that we will find a good solution.
big support people, you know.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your question, Rod. Another question for our panel. Yes, our friend here. Could you wear my Fitbit?
I'm Troy Smith. I run an electrical contracting company in South Australia. We've heard a lot about a lot of different products, and there is an ever-increasing amount of different products and innovation and so on. Manufacturers being the subject matter experts. You're marketing to us as well. You have all of the information on your products and the tech and the benefits and all the marketing material marketing to us as well. I just suppose what component of your efforts for marketing goes to creating the desire in the market with our customers and then creating and promoting the buying channel through industry experts that are going to be installing that for them. So creating the desire with our customers, but you've said the buying channel is through suppliers and our supply chain. How do you see that playing out, and what's your role in that?
My own company, or Philips, the company that I represent's perspective. Philips is actually really known more as a design company. And if we take the category of lighting, again, I suggest that it's a big opportunity in that filler shavers, air fryers, medical equipment, just to name a few. The brand Philips is pretty much synonymous. And in fact, we test the consumer market regularly, and we have a strong position in that regard, that if you ask someone the number one lighting brand, as in your customer, true end consumer, they will 9 times out of 10 suggest Philips. So I think we make a big branding exercise, and it's something that we measure on a continuous basis, and we adapt our investments to get the best result. That's probably at a real high level. At more a local level, it is, if you like, working with builders, specifiers, in addition to, let's say, the end user activity, to let them know how to purchase, where to purchase, and our commitment is to do that work in the channel. I think there's a unique position in lighting in some respects through disruption with LED technology. There was a good time there where Philips wasn't playing very hard. But the brand is still strong, and I think there's a good opportunity from a profitability point of view to actually increase the margins in lighting if you actually promote a brand at the end of the day to your consumers that they will recognise. That's one example.
I think for the industry at large, this is a huge issue, and it's something that's been with us for many, many, many years. Being able to get to the consumer and get the consumer to understand what's available, and everybody in the supply chain has to play a role in that. I know from our plumbing business, and we do have access to the consumer directly, and we do have retail showrooms, but it's still bloody hard to get the message through. So there's no solve-all that can come from it, other than that we all need to have strategies about how we're going to present products to the consumer. And there's big costs doing it on TV, but the internet plays a major role in the consumer now gaining access to this information. It's about then being able to get it back through the channel, through the contractor, through the channel. That's the challenge.
All good. Excellent. Thank you very much. And another question just in the back row. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Vince Whale from the Sunshine Coast. To the manufacturers, I think it'd be how opaque to everyone in this room is the selling of electrical equipment in hardware stores. If you go into Bunnings these days, you could buy a whole house, what you see sitting on the shelves in Bunnings. Do you people push the point that these things shouldn't be sold in a hardware store because people are obviously installing themselves?
Thank you for the question. I think in our case we have been dealing for long in the retail some products that have been sold specifically over there. It has been always a topic. I would like to say, do we really want to let the place to some cheapy product in the retail as well? It's also a question, and it's happening today. You can find very, very low level quality, and it's going to give an idea of the price of the product that you are installing today that is very low. So I think there's always a responsibility to try to push up the price in this type of things as far as we can, and we try to do it every day. But the point is that if a brand is not here, someone else is going to take the place, and the place is going to be taken by product at a very low price. Look at the price on the product that you can find on the shelves, and it's going to be very scary. That's what I would like to say.
In the case of light bulbs, they have been available in grocery forever. So I guess, you know, that's just a point of sale where it actually happens. But it's a fair point, but it's never, I don't know, 100% guarantee that these things don't get in trade. None of us have an expectation of 100%. But to me, when we look at integrated technology that requires the installation by an electrical contractor, then that is the preferred path and the path that we would take. And I think, you know, equally it's just an opportunity for us to be stronger as an industry. You know, more support from contractors for the brands that essentially have supported the industry, at least in Australia, for 100 years. You know, can certainly lead to more expansion and market through your channels to market. I don't think it's ever going to be a 100% one way at all. I'm not sure if I answered that properly, but wherever it's an installed product, the preference would certainly be to see that it gets done in the trade. And I think we've got to be careful not to overestimate. It's certainly, you know, if you look at the DIY in particular, it's, you know, they talk of the electrical category being quite a sizable piece for them, but it's not a big piece in terms of trade. So I think in actual fact the industry's done a pretty good job of making and helping the trade to be done in the trade. It's just my personal opinion of the numbers that I know that they do.
I don't have that problem, but I am worried on safety switches, which are in the retail stores. So when the regulator Victoria announced this prohibition, I got an email to my personal email address from a manufacturer in China who knew my volumes. He could provide those volumes in 3 months with an RCO that would pass the Victorian test, which was full. You know, they had lots of flaws in it. They didn't even know that. And the way people do it is they produce a golden product, they get that passed, but 1 doesn't equal 10 million. And so we're going to have a flood of these imports, these regulators are going to get smart. But to put a safety switch in a Bunnings store, and it says, okay, fine print, make sure an electrician installs it. Well, the person who goes to Bunnings isn't going to get an electrician, they're doing it themselves. So there has to be a line in the sand. There's certain products that should not be able to be installed by a consumer. And if the regulator is going to allow these imports to come in with golden products from test labs that don't respond when they stuff up, then we really are going to have a big rise in safety issues. But at the moment, the regulators either say, well, that's not their responsibility, or they're worried taking on, you know, Wesfarmers or whoever. So it is a concern. I think lights fine, PowerPoint's okay, but the safety switches, there has to be, you know, cigarettes or alcohol to minors. It's not allowed. That's my opinion.